You guys are not going to believe what The Rock is calling Sethington Rollins. It's hilarious. But if you're Seth, it's sad. But that's why The Rock is... We'll save it. We'll hold off. It's coming up in this upload. We'll discuss it. Maybe I'll let you guys hear it for yourself. The Rock cutting this promo on Cody and Sethington. It's hilarious, as I said, but this is not going to help Seth's cause. We'll talk about it in this upload. Also, a big follow-up story to an upload we put up just a few days ago, where BC was asking the question because a senior producer and senior writer for WWE just left the company. Said deuces ooses to Triple H, Paul Levesque McMahon, just weeks before WrestleMania. Of course, her direct boss is the Chief Content Creative Officer, Paul Levesque McMahon, and she didn't even stick around for Mania. And when asked why, this senior producer / writer said, just want to change. And when you come to find out that she was really heading the women's division in WWE, you find out more, like she was really close with Sasha Banks Mercedes Moné. And with Sasha Banks Mercedes about to debut in AEW in a few weeks, you just had to ask the question. So BC asked that question. We had a really good discussion just a few days ago. Well, if only we knew at the time how much truth was being discussed in that upload on this channel from BC and the Amplified Unit, because I have a massive follow-up, big update on Sasha Banks Mercedes Moné and this former WWE Senior Producer / writer and AEW. It's all coming up in this upload. Also, a big name is in, or at least when you think of Elimination Chamber, it's a big name. This female has been spotted in Perth, Australia for Elimination Chamber. The problem is she's not in any of the matches, so it raises some questions, right? We'll talk about who that is. And also, a big name is not in Perth, and this is surprising a lot of people. We'll talk about those two names in this upload. I also got an update on CM Punk. Just because he is out with an injury for 8-ish months does not mean you're not going to be seeing a whole lot of CM Punk. I have an update on that as well. Also, a big feud has kind of erupted between Liv Morgan, current WWE superstar Liv Morgan, and former WWE superstar and ECW legend Francine. And it all stems from a video game. We'll talk about it and how this war ignited and where it's headed and what 2K24 has done about it. So it is a packed, stacked, jacked upload today. Hopefully you guys have your beverage and you're ready to rock. Big shout out, by the way, some super thanks before we get started in the last upload we put up. I had to make sure I had the updated list. These are some super thankses that came in for the last upload we did, which I believe was the Raw review. So a bunch of coffees chucked to the channel, starting with Cassandra. Much love and respect to Cassandra. Appreciate it. And I wholeheartedly agree. Hilariously, Cassandra. I agree. Salute. Appreciate it. Clint Green. You know the deal. Coffee chucked to the channel. Salute. Clint Green. Appreciate you. And Merge. Her game. Always good to see Merge. You nailed it, dude. In fact, that buffet wouldn't stand a chance. Appreciate you guys big time, man. Never needed, but always appreciated all the coffees you guys chuck to the channel. You guys are the best. Let's stay amplified. Let's go to the top story. I'm not gonna make you guys wait at all. The Rock and what he called Seth. I wouldn't even do it justice. So I want you guys to hear this for yourself. I believe this was cut after SmackDown went off the air last week, because The Rock still has that vest on. He's still pretty amped up. And they asked The Rock to cut a promo for the Elimination Chamber, even though he's not going to be there, kind of hype it up. And a few days before the Chamber, WWE.com was going to released the promo, which they did in the last 24 hours. But I wouldn't even do this justice. You guys got to listen to this promo and listen to what he calls Cody's tag team partner for, we believe, WrestleMania. Seth Rollins. Listen to what The Rock calls Rollins. Hopefully you guys can hear this. This was backstage. There was a lot of noise, but hopefully you guys can hear this interview. Or promo.
Oh, I know. Everybody wants to know what's happening down in Perth, Australia. It's going to be this weekend, right? Is that right? Yeah, The Rock knows when it's happening. You know why? Because they kept asking The Rock, will you go down to Perth? Could you come down to Perth, Australia? Listen, The Rock can't be there in Perth. The Rock wishes he could be there in Perth. He's got to be there in spirit, and that's all that matters. The People's Champ spirit is going to be in Perth. But here's who else is going to be in Perth. Grayson Waller, doing the Waller effect. It's that show. It's a big show. It's a big show here in the States, and it's an even bigger show down there in Australia. You know why? You know why, Dumbo? Because Australia is his country. It's his home country. The people are going to go crazy for him, but here's what's happening. Here's the bullshit that's happening now down in Australia. Cody Rhodes and his little girlfriend, Seth Rollins, are going to go on the Waller effect. Here's the thing. I need you, and this goof holding the camera, and this one holding the microphone over here. I need all of you guys to make sure that Perth knows some bullshit happening. And if those guys meaning Cody and his little girlfriend Seth, if they start talking trash, let The Rock know. Tell The Rock, because here's what's going to happen. The Rock is going to slap the piss out of both of them just like that. As a matter of fact, if they talk trash, The Rock will fly down there to Perth before that interview is over, and he'll do it. Don't wonder why The Rock can make it that quick. The Rock makes magic happen. Do you understand? All right, that's all The Rock has to say about Perth. Perth, Australia, get ready, because the WWE is coming. Let The Rock know if those two jabronis talk trash. If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
Where to begin? So, first and foremost, props to The Rock. He comes backstage after cutting that promo on SmackDown. WWE.com is waiting for him. Can you cut another promo hyping up Elimination Chamber? And The Rock's like, dude, are you serious? Is the red light on? Let's just do this. And that's what he does. In 90 seconds, probably with 30 seconds of notice, looks like he literally just got back through the curtain. And he cuts a promo that is easily going to be better than 99.99% of wrestlers today for the entire year. That's probably going to be one of the best promos you're going to hear. WWE.com slaying one of their top stars, Sethington Rollins, calling him Cody's little girlfriend. How do you come back from that? Cody's little girlfriend. There's no way Seth can hang with The Rock on the microphone, right? We know that. That's obvious. Seth will come back and have some good one-liners, some jabs that'll make the crowd go, ooh, right? He'll have some part-timer jabs. He'll talk about his ego and his selfishness, right? Basically take the talking points from a lot of the community and he'll try to insert them. But The Rock can slay you with the simplest of lines. He doesn't have to dig that deep. He just calls you Cody's girlfriend, and it just sticks, right? The Cody crybabies, to this day, it just stuck. It just stuck. The Cody crybabies and Cody's girlfriend, Cody's little girlfriend, Seth Rollins. That's going to be hard to come back from, right? And that's the problem with a lot of today, even the top superstars in WWE. They can't light a candle to people like The Rock. And Seth Rollins, we declared him the Wrestler of the Year in 2023. I'm not even a big Seth Rollins fan. Not at all, actually. But I respect the dude enough. And I knew that in 2023, I could not put anybody above him. Seth Rollins, if you follow the channel, you know we deemed him the Wrestler of the Year in 2023. And we've obviously have been a big Cody supporter. But I'll be the first to say that none of them can light a candle to The Rock. And it's for these scenarios. You can boo him all you want. You can say you don't want to see him. But when the dude is on that microphone, he literally captivates you because you're hanging on every word. Cody's little girlfriend. What? That's outrageous. It's hilarious and it sticks. Cody's little girlfriend, Seth Rollins. It's going to be hard to come back from that because Seth Rollins can't outduel The Rock on the microphone. That's the problem. The Rock is too damn good. The problem is The Rock is too damn good. That's probably why a lot of individuals, a lot of fans don't want to see these Attitude Era stars come back. They don't want to see the part-timers because they're so damn good. They expose today's talent, especially top talent, because you're saying that's the top tier. And they're getting slayed by the people of yesterday. Like, you're hoping that it raises their game, but I truly don't know if it's in these individuals. Seth Rollins has never been a dude that's captivated you on the mic, right? He's had some good promos, but he's never captivated you, really. That's never been, when you think Seth Rollins, you don't think, oh, one of the best workers on the mic of all time. You don't think of that. Seth Rollins is one of those dudes that doesn't really know what his character is, and because of that, a lot of fans don't. He dresses real goofy, and half the time he's like a Joker character. The other half, he's serious Seth. And he's a stone's throw away from just the Shield, just with, Becky's clothes on. So he really doesn't know what it is. He thought, if I just dress up in really goofy material, that'll work, right? But it didn't. It wasn't until he got that song, right? The sing-along. Him and Becky were on the couch, and he's thinking, because he's mingling around with the U.S. Championship, and he's thinking, I have to rehaul things. How can I get people to care? And he's like, well, Becky, they pop for you instantly because they can sing your song, right? So I have to have a sing-along. And sure enough, he changes the theme song, he gets the zombie sing-along, and you can trace it to that point where he got over, right? Or started to get over, because people can now sing your song. It worked for Finn Balor when he does the, oh, or whatever it was, going on, the lights go up, whatever that is. Cody's got the, oh, works with Cody, worked with Finn Balor, worked with Becky, works with Seth, worked with Bobby Roode, glorious, worked with Shinsuke, and you can go down the line. Whenever you have a sing-along, you're about 40% instantly over already. You just got to put in bare minimum work at that point, and they'll sing. So that's what Seth did. Only then, when he started to get over again, was at that point, right? Before that, he was mingling around with Austin Theory, Bobby Lashley, going for the U.S. title for the 86th time, 50-50 reaction. People could take him, people could leave him. So Seth Rollins finally gets over thanks to the sing-along. And being a workhorse, right? We'll throw that in there. He busts his ass for sure. But when you put him up with The Rock, all Rock has to say is Cody's little girlfriend. And you're already looking at Seth like, because we already were, right? Even Seth fans were like, I gotta agree, this doesn't make sense. Seth just looks awkward with this, right? It's like Daniel Bryan being in a match with Edge and Roman at Mania. Just doesn't make sense. Like, one of these doesn't belong. You look at these four, Cody doesn't belong in Rock and Roman's feud, or what should be a feud, and Rock doesn't belong with Cody and Roman. So the three of them don't belong in this scenario. So Seth for sure is the odd man out. Seth has no business in this thing. So to wrap this up with a bow on top, according to The Rock, he and Roman will be taking on Crybaby Cody and Cody's little girlfriend. Come on, man. That is epic. When we're talking about a 90-second backstage WWE.com promo, you know you are so damn good at what you do. The Rock, bro. Yes. Cody's little girlfriend. How do you unsee that now? Moving on. Let's go over to Jen Pepperman. Senior producer, senior writer for WWE, no more. AEW bound now. So if you guys are not familiar with the story, obviously you must have missed the upload we put up just a couple days ago. A big departure for WWE, a senior employee, man. Senior producer and writer Jennifer Pepperman worked directly under Paul Levesque McMahon, and more specifically for the women's division. And when you do a little bit of research, you see how close she was with Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks. And with Banks about to make this big debut in AEW in just a few weeks, we were hearing rumblings that much like The Rock likes to have people that he can trust and work real good with, like Brian Gerwitz and other individuals, who was a former writer, by the way, for WWE. He likes to have his people. We're hearing that Banks wants to pretty much put that in place as well, have her people and kind of have say on her character, her trajectory. I love that. I wish she had that in WWE. Which she did with this writer. They would veto basically everything and step on what Pepperman wanted or what Sasha thought was best. With AEW, it looks like she will have hopefully more control over all of this. So anyway, what I'm getting at is with Banks about to debut, Mercedes Moné with AEW, and then you hear of this departure and leaving WWE just weeks before WrestleMania. You're telling your boss, HHH, I just don't want to be here. And when asked why, she said, I just want to change. So it wasn't it wasn't a reason where it was I just have to take care of this, but I mean, maybe in 6 months or whatever, we can revisit this. Maybe I can come back. No, it was I need a change. And she just left it at that. So we just had a discussion, man. BC, it's a pro Sasha channel, pro Mercedes Moné. I just feel she's the best female wrestler on the planet because she gives everybody their best match. So I had to ignite the conversation, as ludicrous as it may sound. And I wasn't trying to come up with a conspiracy or anything. But what if this senior producer writer left WWE weeks before Mania, did not want to work under Triple H anymore, and the stars aligned perfectly while Mercedes is about to debut for AEW? Maybe it's not so much of a coincidence. Maybe those stars were kind of already aligned, a master plan. Again, wasn't trying to discuss a conspiracy, but what if Pepperman is going to AEW? Peppermint Patty, that's what we're going to call her. Peppermint Patty. What if? That's all. It was a fun conversation, but I was being very serious when I said it could happen. A big follow-up to that story. It happened. Peppermint Patty is headed to AEW. We're hearing she will work specifically with the females and even more directly with Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks. Good little discussion, right? That's when BC says, I am miles ahead of everybody else. It's just thought-wise. It's just seeing what we have now and determining how it helps everybody, what it does for everybody, what's everybody's trajectory. That's why when you say, well, BC, you're usually right, man. How do you get it right this many times? It's not that hard. I use logic, common sense, and I'm just really good at the pro wrestling thing. Thankfully, I have that it factor when it comes to knowledge of pro wrestling. Thankfully. But I put that with logic and common sense. When you mix that with a lot of research and you get your details and your ducks in a row, you're going to be good at what you do. That conversation had to be had because it was a very real possibility that Peppermint Patty could show up in AEW alongside Mercedes. It's happening. It's already official. Peppermint Patty has signed on with AEW. So that is a big update. And it shows you that hopefully the discussions we were having about hopefully they have something for Mercedes. Hopefully it's not just, we're having a big name show up. Remember that's Sasha Banks, and hoping that moves the needle alone, because it didn't work for CM Punk. It didn't work for Edge, and it didn't work for a lot of individuals that jumped ship to AEW. And Tony Khan was hoping the name itself would produce a lot of eyeballs to the television sets week after week. Didn't happen. In Edge's case, it just went backwards. CM Punk, it remained stagnant at about 9 and 950. So if they couldn't move the needle, that's a lot of pressure to ask Sasha Banks Mercedes Moné. But if you have weeks still to go and you're bringing in the right puzzle pieces that Mercedes feels she can work best with and that will do her the most justice, guys, this could work. Right now, they should be working on a game plan. You know how I honestly, how I book Mercedes Moné? Obviously, you have her show up and cut the most scathing promo that is filled with talking points that'll go on for the next several weeks within the community, right? Like a lot of good discussion, a lot of jabs, a lot of takeaways from the promo. That's an obvious given, right? But I want her calling out like Britt Baker. So when Baker is 100% ready to rock, man, that's the match. And the whole thing is, I know you were basically the founder, female-wise, of this company, right? Female-wise, like the pillar for the females was kind of Britt Baker, if you really think about it. And Britt Baker does the most outside the ring as well in terms of promoting AEW, for those that don't know. So it's always been Britt Baker. And Mercedes is saying, if I'm here, there's no what ifs, there's no yeah buts. I'm beating you from the jump, so there's no question mark as to who is running this. And I would have this big thing with Britt Baker. I would have her in jobber matches, by the way. Her first several matches, not even in there with another star wrestler. I would have her in there with Handjob Holly from the local bingo hall. You know, Three Titty Teresa from the American Legion down the block. You know, like just have her in there with jobbers, showcase just how damn good she is, but don't have her in there with other stars yet. No, and after every match, she continues to egg on Brittany Baker. Something like that, where you just have to set something up to where even subconsciously, the fans are kind of like, all right, this is gaining a little bit of steam. I'm going to have to see Mercedes and Brittany now, man. Like the battle for supremacy in AEW. Like who really is going to put that company on their back female-wise for that division? Something like that. Something like that. You can go a million different ways. I'm giving you one idea other than just having her show up, and that's that. She cuts a promo, why I'm in AEW, and I'm here to go to the top, and all of a sudden she's in there with Tony Storm 2 weeks later. Sky Blue 3 weeks later. Sky Velvet the next week. Sky Brown the next week. Sky slightly tinted orange the following week. No, just have some jobber matches and build a real story. That's it. Ease into it, man. Ease into it. You ain't got to put the whole company on her back from day one and put her in there in 5-star classics to try to get a niche audience to yell, this is awesome. Build. Build. If you build, they will come. If you rush it, whatever you have, whatever you're attempting to build, if you rush it, it's just going to come crumbling down. Build. Take your time and build. But that's a huge update to that story, and that's just a little bit of how BC would kind of play around with, Mercedes Moné going to AEW. But man, that's massive. Weeks before WrestleMania to tell Triple H, I don't want to do this. I don't want to work for you right now. Something happened with, Mercedes. It wasn't just VKM. Everybody thought, that's one of the kids of Triple H, and she has spoken so highly of H in the past. But something happened to where, and I know it's the money. HHH didn't want to pay her. And, because he easily could have been in Nick Khan or anybody's ear and said, all right, if anybody's going to get a little bit of an uptick in pay, she's worth it. But to say no, she wasn't even asking more than Charlie Flair money. She wasn't even asking for more. And they were just like, no, we don't think you're worth that. But you can come in, we'll give you some spotlight, we'll give you some PLE matches, you got to do the job, but... And she's like, whoa, I'm better than mid AF, man. I'm the best. I can go hours on Banks, you guys know that, Mercedes Moné, but it's a pro Mercedes channel, what can we say? But that's a massive update, man. We nailed that discussion. We were right again, Amp Unit, for having those talks, because Peppermint Patty is in AEW working with Sasha Mercedes. Moving on, CM Punk. Already back in WWE on television. You saw Punk at the press conference last week, was it? Last Thursday or 2 weeks ago? Whatever it was. He was on the panel. You're going to be seeing a lot of that, guys. Punk is going to be doing commentary work going forward. You could see him at PLEs, for instance. You could see him filling in when McAfee cannot do a Raw. We're hearing that CM Punk is the main name being tossed around. More kickoff panels. He has went on record and said it's absolutely something he wants to do going forward while he's all out with the injury. He absolutely wants to. He says, he put it, and I'm paraphrasing. He says, my arm might be out of commission. Or my body, something like that, but my mouth is still fully active. He said that's what I'm known for anyway. So there's no reason why he shouldn't be putting that to work. So he's already confirming that he's absolutely ready to rock behind the microphone. WWE has already started that process. But the report we're getting is they are going to greenlight much more of CM Punk going forward. I think that's the right call. There's no reason to keep him totally out. I think a few months before he's about to return, maybe you totally take him away, right? Make that in-ring return much more special. But for the next several months, 3-4 months up front, man, at least leading into SummerSlam, right? Even if you look at, 3 or 4 months, you go through March, April, May, June. I think SummerSlam is July now. It used to be in August. SummerSlam every year was in August. Lately, it's been in like July. Very odd, man. It keeps getting moved. You're going to get SummerSlam in February soon. Middle of winter. SummerSlam. But, there's no reason that CM Punk, man. I think that'll work. He used to do commentary. You guys remember was he injured? It was the whole NXT thing when he started up the Nexus, not NXT, right? Whatever group he started. He was with Wade Barrett. He was doing commentary around that time. I remember that. So this wouldn't be his first rodeo. Interesting, though. A lot more CM Punk you're going to be seeing, even though he is injured on WWE television. An interesting name is in Perth, Australia, as we speak, man. And this female, she lost her, was it a qualifying match? And the last chance battle royal. So she has no business being in Perth, Australia, but she is. So it raises a question. Swig of coffee, we'll talk about it. So that is Shayna Baszler is in Perth, Australia for the Elimination Chamber. Again, the only issue with that is she's not a part of the Elimination Chamber. There's only 4 matches. It has nothing to do with Shayna. So you have to wonder, I mean, you don't need Shayna Baszler for promotion at that point. I mean, you have your stars there. You have Cody, you have Seth, you got Rhea Ripley, so many others. Shayna Baszler has to make the trip out there? No, it goes to show like they're going to have something with Baszler, and maybe Levesque McMahon woke up and was like, man, we missed that opportunity, right? The biggest thing that Baszler has done, she's been in WWE for years. Hard to believe because she's so irrelevant, unfortunately, because of her booking. But she's been in WWE for years. And the biggest thing that anybody can tell you, her biggest accomplishment, really, I don't care if she's held like a tag title with Ronda or anything like that. The biggest thing they can tell you is her performance in the Elimination Chamber was dominant. You remember a few years back and she just rocked out in that chamber. That was it. So now this year you have that spot available and Paul Levesque McMahon went for Raquel Rodriguez, who just was out for the longest time, came back, and we wish her the best, right? She's had a rough few months. Dealing with just an odd thing that is just, she's powering through though. So all the best to Raquel. And you don't want to take that away from her, but how do you not give that to Shayna, man? It's the chamber, first of all. Raquel, you've already tried to push Raquel in the past. It just didn't work. So you want to push her again, that's fine. But the chamber, that's obviously Baszler's, right? And she was right in the final 3. It was her, Zoe, or final 4. Chelsea came in at the tail end. But it was Shayna, Zoe, Chelsea, and Raquel. How do you have Shayna not winning that? Anyway, Baszler is in there, though. There's been photos posted by some of the other talent, and you can see Shayna in some of those photos. So it's interesting. You know, are they going to use her, and how? Is she going to be involved somehow into the chamber? Is she going to take out Raquel, and maybe that sets up a feud? She's pissed off because Raquel cost her that spot in the chamber. Possible. Whole point with the chamber is nobody can really screw with it, right? You can't get in. I mean, it's like a little prison cells within the prison itself. But so how can, I don't know. There's ways. I once saw Kane literally take the cell from Hell in a Cell. They took the cell door and he just ripped it off the hinges. I've seen like Brock and others like go through the cage and totally take a cage side paneling down. So I guess there's ways. Now, on the flip side, a name that will not be in Perth, and this is really shocking to a lot of fans. Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed lost his qualifying match, and a lot of fans thought, well, they heard that his wife was pregnant, and that's why he's going to be home with the wifey. He came right out and he debunked that. He says, no, that's, I think, yes, wifey is pregnant, he said, but that's not why I will not be at Elimination Chamber. He says, unfortunately, the stars just didn't align. So you got to believe he's just saying, like, creatively, they just didn't have anything for me. They didn't want me to be one of those spots. And it makes sense, or it doesn't make sense. And because of that, it makes sense. And what I'm talking about is he hasn't been booked properly, and that's what just doesn't make sense. You talk about this dude like he's a beast, Big Bronson Reed. You give him the new intro where he's basically King Kong or Godzilla, right? He's bigger than skyscrapers, and he's swiping, taking out buildings and skyscrapers, right? I mean, that's a badass entrance. And then 2 minutes later, he's like losing to Bob Lashley. Or Danny Dipshit Dugenheimer from the local bingo hall. It's like, he was just King Kong 2 minutes earlier. Like, you can't do that. So that's what doesn't make sense. And that's what's unfortunate. So when you finally get to a position like this, where you need to fill out, 6 individuals, whatever it is, for the chamber, it's hard to put somebody who's so irrelevant because you booked him as such to be now a top star in this 6-person match. It's hard to make the fans get on board with that, and then creative has to stop and go, damn, we didn't book him to be one of the 6. So I hope you guys are keeping track. It's like a vicious cycle, right? It's just like 2 wrongs don't make a right. And now the dude's in the homeland and he can't even get a match. And maybe they feel we already have too many people like that, and we need to get that energy and focus from the home crowd. We need to put that on Rhea Ripley, or we need to put that on Grayson Waller, and Bronson will just be too much. Or they have an individual in mind to win that match, and they don't want everybody firmly behind Bronson. So in that case, just give Bronson a side match. You only have 4 announced matches. You could have set something up for Bronson. A little 5-minute match. No harm, no foul. He defeats, I don't know. What's Bronson on? Monday Night Raw? So he beats, I don't know. Little Dominic has nothing, right? Dominic Mysterio? No, because Damian and Finn are defending the tag titles. So, yeah, just throw him in there with Dominic, man. Something like that. No harm, no foul. I don't know. Very odd. But Bronson's not in there. And again, because of the way he's booked, I can't say that I can. Nobody's going to watch Elimination Chamber and think, oh, there's no Bronson. This event sucks. Nobody's going to do that. You made Bronson irrelevant. You made your bed. Now you got to lie in it. Now you're kind of like, is there a way that we can even dig Bronson out of the hole that they dug for him? So Baszler is in Perth, Bronson not. Moving on. Where do you guys want to go? Oh, this is interesting. This is a good one. 2K24, Liv Morgan and Francine in a little bit of a war right now. Listen to this. So what set this up was 2K24. They put out some promotional material, I guess on the social doohickey machine. And it was basically Liv Morgan, her playable character, like video game Morgan. And the caption was just like the Queen of Extreme. So this, of course, or wind of this got over to Francine, former WWE superstar and ECW legend, Francine. And Francine was not happy because she has that trademarked Queen of Extreme. So Francine sent word to WWE Games. Hey, this is a quote from Francine. Hey, WWE Games, I have the Queen of Extreme trademarked. Do you need something sent to you guys again from my lawyer? So she says again, like they did this in the past. You didn't learn your lesson. Now my lawyer's going to have a word with you. So 2K24 then takes it down. They're like, all right, that's all you had to say. Like, relax. We were just doing a play on words. So Francine responds to 2K24 taking it down. Ha ha, they took it down. Good on them. They did the right thing. For those that always support me, much love. All I can say is the block feature was utilized a lot today. What's right is right. Always stand up for yourself. She also says, to all the ignorant 20-somethings that are trolling, I've used Queen of Extreme for decades and paid for the trademark, which means no one else can use it. It starts with a tweet, then it's used in entrances, and then on games, then it's on magazines, etc. So you have to fight for what is legally yours, end quote. So she's trying to tell people, because a lot of Liv Morgan fans were upset, like, come on, that's petty. Why you gotta have him take down Liv in that caption? And she's trying to say, because this is how it starts, and I pay for this trademark for a reason. And if Queen of Extreme starts getting labeled on Liv Morgan, well, there goes my whole shtick. And for those that don't know, these wrestlers from the past, they go to a lot of events, sometimes with not a lot of people even attending the wrestling show itself, maybe 50, 75 people tops. And they set up little tables and they have the autographs, and they're hoping that maybe 5-10 people will fork over $15-20 maybe for a photo and a autograph. So when you're spending money to be labeled the Queen of Extreme, Francine's probably looking at it like that's my whole shtick. Like a lot of wrestling fans today, they're not even remembering Francine. But if I have that label, and you can think, oh, ECW. That's the mindset anyway, guys. To most of us, yeah, this was no harm, no foul. They were not going to follow this up and start calling her that. But she's thinking that people could pick up on that and Liv could be called that. But it got taken down, and Francine just went on this whole little tear about I don't think it was directed just at Liv, just anybody. You're not the Queen of Extreme. That's me. I pay for that. I pay for that trademark. So then Liv Morgan obviously is hearing about this. So Liv Morgan replies. Now you can determine if this was a little shade or a jab. A lot of fans believe it is. She says, and I quote, Liv Morgan says, the Queen of Extremely Absurd Physical Feats. Like a little giggle emoji with a wink. So that's why we think it's a little bit of a shade, a little bit of a jab. Like you made something out of nothing. Relax. So she puts what 2K24 took down. She puts that same photo, her playable character, and they recaptioned it, by the way. 2K24 recaptioned it. You only live once. First look, hashtag. So it was just her catchphrase, like what is trademarked by WWE. So you can look at that as a little bit of a jab too. Like, all right, well, we'll put what we have trademarked. And then Liv Morgan again says, Queen of Extremely Absurd Physical Feats. Laugh emoji, wink. Or giggle emoji, wink. And it's the same photo that was taken down originally. So Liv Morgan having a little bit of fun with that. Maybe a little bit of a jab back. I haven't heard that Francine had said anything back. And it's really not worth digging that much into it. I just thought it was interesting, the little back and forth, and fans not exactly too happy with Francine. Francine feels she stood up for something big, and 2K24 forced to take that down. We'll see if anything goes forward with that. But she cannot be called Queen of Extreme. We have established that. That is Francine's, if anybody cares. That's what I got for you guys, man. We went kind of a little over the allotted time that I originally had planned. So I got a couple more stories. I think I'll save. What's the schedule now? We'll do the SmackDown review. I believe that is completely taped, so I may do that beforehand. We'll go over the spoilers. We'll talk about exactly how BC feels about this show. We'll do that before the show goes live. And if you guys don't want to know the spoilers, you can come back after SmackDown and hear my thoughts on it. But that'll be sometime within the next 24 hours. And then it's Elimination Chamber. It's a different time for everybody. It depends on where you are in the world, and that's when you're going to get the Chamber. For East Coast, stateside, we're going to get it at 5 a.m. I believe there's a kickoff at 4 a.m. So 5 o'clock in the morning, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you, if you want to stop by the channel, I'm hoping to be anyway, live on the channel for the entirety of Elimination Chamber, even though it's 5 a.m. I hope to be live doing the good, the bad, and the ugly review. So if you're up at any point early on Saturday morning, stop by the channel, say what's up, smash the up. I appreciate it. Say what's up. Maybe have a coffee really early with BC. I'll be having about 12. And yeah, man, I'll be live really early Saturday morning watching the event. Hopefully you guys can catch it with BC. So that's the upcoming schedule over the next 48 hours. Until next time, and there will be that next time. Top guys, we are out. To my amplified unit, salute. Deuces, Zeus's. BC saying check you. Peace.